In a world where laughter was king.
No in a world, Jack.
What do you mean, no in a world?
It's not that kind of movie.
Oh? Okay. In a land that...
No in a land either.
In a time...
Nah, I don't think so.
In a land before time.
It's about a comedian, Jack.
One man.
No.
When your life is no longer your own.
What does that mean?
When everything you know is wrong.
That's wrong.
In an outpost.
No.
On the edge of space.
There's no space.
A girl.
No.
Two girls.
No.
Now.
No.
More than ever.
Stop it.
A renegade cop.
I hate you.
A robot renegade cop.
You're fired.
You're fired.
No, you're actually fired.
I'm fired.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.
It's good to see you. I must go. I know I will go.
Hold him. Now you listen to me, you hillbilly punk who thinks the world's still round. I'm here to tell you it's not. It's flat.
He's an interesting guy, man, and he believes it. So, Kyrie, the Earth is flat, right?
Yeah.
So, whatever.
That's news.
That's news. Here we go.
Wherever you are, make it Truth Frequency Radio.
Broadcasting straight to you from a large spaceship, currently traveling a linear time stream. The counter is just about to roll over from 2016 to 2017. Oh, what a great flat year it's going to be. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Strange World, where the truth is often stranger than fiction. I'm your host, Mark Sargent, the creator of Flat Earth Clues, which propose that all of us are living inside a Truman Show enclosed structure thousands of miles wide. Check it out at marksargent.com, enclosedworld.com, or just Google Flat Earth Clues. If you can't find it, well, then you're doing a lot of bad math. That's really what it boils down to. For those of you listening to this on YouTube and you want to hear the show live as it happens, please go to Truth Frequency Radio for the latest schedule. Currently, this show is on Tuesday nights at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. And today's date is December 27th, so it's the last show of 2016, rolling into 2017. We are currently broadcasting from the United States of America. Next week, we will be broadcasting from Victoria, Canada. Quote of the day from the Peanut Gallery is... Actually, there's two quotes. Let's use both of them. The first one is, "For me, it is far better to grasp the universe as it really is than to persist in delusion, however satisfying and reassuring." That quote was from Carl Sagan. And then the second quote from the Peanut Gallery, he sent me a whole bunch of them today, but we're going to do it these first two. The second one is The Demon Haunted World, from The Demon Haunted World. "Science as a candle in the dark. If you thought that science was certain, well, that is just an error on your part." And that is by Richard Feynman. Phone number to call in is 720-897-6111. That number again, 720-897-6111. Operators are standing by, and by that I mean me. So if you're going to call in, don't be mean, because remember, no matter where you go, there you are. That's from Buckaroo Banzai, by the way. Tonight, what we're going to do is something a little different because it's the end of the year. And first off, we're going to do a couple of quick shout-outs to or challenge, Jeffrey Grubb challenge still in effect. If anybody in the scientific or debunking community, and that's what we'll segue into here in a minute, wants to argue against Flat Earth, please. Jeffrey Grubb from Zeteticism.com is champing at the bit to take on somebody. So please, I've been waiting now for months, and we can't get anybody from the scientific community to actually come out and debate him. I know why. Oh, first phone call coming in from 704 area code. You are on live with Strange World. Who are you? Where are you from?
I'm Candy, and I'm from Dallas, North Carolina. I'm so freaking glad I got you on the phone. Oh my God, I emailed you, but I accidentally put .ner because I typoed that, and oh my God, I found you a debate.
You found me a debate?
Yes, David Buck is dying to debate you.
Wait, who?
David Buck, and I heard you mention him last week on your news. Okay, it was 2 a.m. last Tuesday.
Yeah.
I woke up out of my sleep oh man, I didn't call work tonight. I was Strange World. And I was I emailed you at 2 o'clock in the morning. But I sent it to contest.ner. So I resent it the night before last, so just ignore it. So I screenshotted you the communication between me and David because he's hardcore on the globe thing, and he actually called it. I said, I have somebody willing to debate you, and he's not going to call you names and say bad things, but he said, well, no, nobody's going to debate you. They're scared, and because all they do is call names and say bad things. And I said, I promise you he won't do that. And I know you want to pass your debate over, but this one's going to be a good one.
All right. I'm looking at your email right now. You are, you typed in NER at the end of the first email. Yeah, I'm looking. In fact, I was going to read your email probably midway through the show.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah, I was so excited.
No worries. I will read your email. I promise. Midway through the show, there's a big, not necessarily a troll, but somebody who wants to try to debunk it email that I want to read. But I'll tell you what. You and I will correspond offline, and maybe we'll set it up. Honestly, though, I did promise my very first, I should say the very next debate to Jeffrey Grubb because he's been just dying to come after someone. He's got a much bigger brain than I do, and
I'm pretty sure either one of you will do just fine.
Okay. That sounds perfect. So let's do that, and listen if you're going to keep listening to the show, which I think you will, then listen for your email, which I will read in its entirety, and then we'll go from there. All right.
All righty.
Well, thank you. Any shout outs you want to give before you head off into the darkness of the East Coast?
No, but I am wondering. I was listening to you guys, you and Patricia. How do you get these groups of people? I am alone in this world. I know you say come at it like clubs and stuff, but I tell everybody I meet, I'm the world's flat, right? I just kind of sneak in there, and I'm 5'2", 130 pounds, and they're looking you're crazy. And it just kind of blow me off. But people that I know, my stepdad recently, it's actually really funny. I made a comment. We were talking about Myres, and I was like, yeah, but see, I have a lot of problems with some of these things that they're saying because the world's flat anyway. So I just, the whole globe thing doesn't make sense. I walked out of the room, and 3 minutes later, he said, Candy, come here. And I said, what? He said, did you say the world is flat, the earth is, do you really believe that? Where did it? He's never heard the idea. Yeah. I sat down, and my mom was like, oh, my God, did you just get her started?
Yep.
And so it went on for about 10 minutes. She's like, enough to stop. So.
Yeah. Again, you got to size up your opponents, who you're going to talk to about this, because it can get a little dicey. You don't, especially if they're not into conspiracies at all. It's very, very tough. As far as Patricia and I creating groups, it's just came naturally. Joining groups online, joining group chats, forums, and just kind of feeling out the people that are there, and then finally, you do video stuff, and then it just works its way up from there. It takes some doing. It wasn't instantaneous, that's for sure. So.
Because, I live for Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
I listen to everything online, all the videos, everything, but it's different when people are live, I guess.
Yeah.
And we're able to communicate because there's no more questions that I really have. Everything is, I'm just dying for some new information.
Got it. Yeah, I understand wholeheartly. So let's...
Now my only question is why do we call Jesus Jesus when his name is clearly Yeshua?
That's a whole nother story for a whole nother show.
Yeah, so I just want some new information. I want somebody to go to Antarctica, just take a live camera and just risk everything just for everybody else. It
is a nice thought. Anyway, do this for me because I've got a whole bunch of emails I got to get through.
Okay.
We will I will read your email and we will correspond and maybe we can get some sort of debate set up. Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Hey, Candy, you have a good rest of your night.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so what I'm going to do tonight is I'm gonna do something a little different, and that is because a few people have written me some troll letters, and as much as I don't want to feed the trolls, I will single out a few, and I will give you some examples. The first one, so we're going to do two examples tonight. One is very short and very irritating. The other one is long and well thought out, and we'll address both of these, and hopefully, my goal is to actually get through both of them before the end of at least the second break. The second one's pretty long. So let's give you an example of how not to write a troll email. Now, granted, most trolls that are out there, if you go to my YouTube channel and you watch all the videos, you'll know that there are a ton of people that comment in the comment section. And there's horrible people out there that just say awful things. Remember the saying, it's I used to believe that the saying that if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Now I've revised it to, if you can't say something nice, you're probably in the YouTube forums because there's just full of horrible people. But the whole crux of being a troll is you got to be anonymous. That's how trolls were created. Once the first, and it's mostly men, once the first, call it 15 to 50-year-old guy found out on the internet that, hey, I could post something here and no one's going to know who I am. Once that power was given to these people, they became the voice in the mob. We all know this from the movies. The voice that yells, "Oh, she's a witch! Burn her!" And there was no shortage of people that wanted to volunteer for this. So the forums were bad literally since day one. I was there. I'm old enough to remember when the first internet forums really started cranking up, bulletin boards and after. Once the anonymous nature came out, it got really, really ugly. So that being said, I'm not kidding you, 99.9% of the emails that I get are positive emails because trolls don't want to spoof an email, create a fake email account to email me. So they usually, the really bold ones or the really drunk ones will email me and tell me what but most of the time they want to stay anonymous. That's the whole, trolls are generally just cowards. They don't want to, they're worse than bullies. They want to inflict damage without any chance of repercussion on their side. So I get 1 in 100 emails, I think, are troll emails on my side, and even less phone calls, because I put up my phone number there. So again, trolls out there, debunkers, my email address is msargent23@comcast.net, and my phone number, let's use the show one, 720-897-6111, because it'll go to the same voicemail. So all that being said, I'm trying to frame this for you, is that here's a perfect example of how not to troll me, and then another example of the perfect way to troll me. So this first one on how not to is from Bill Riley. The subject line is literally no subject. I am pretty sure he had about a half bottle or more of scotch in him when he wrote this. at 5:45 in the afternoon. His email address, I'm going to throw that at you just for the heck of it, is kind of a cryptic one. It's bnlcnlbj1865@gmail.com. And he writes it something like this. And this is verbatim, mind you. I'm reading this exactly how it is written. I did not correct anything. I don't like anyone not believing others at all. People tell you what they see, but you can't believe them. There is no curve proven right. The curve never proven, but you can't say yes to nothing. There's no punctuation here, so I have to take a breath. So you will soon be told goodbye. The lines will be thickened. Yes, agents know you're with. When will you believe others? 8 question marks after that. We'll never watch your site again. We'll train others to do the same. No period. That was the entire email. I literally wrote him back within 5 minutes and said, what in the world were you trying to get across here? Because I have no idea what that whole little thing meant. It was one sentence. The only punctuation in there was question marks. No breaks at all. I have literally no idea what the message was, other than he'll never watch my site. My site, enclosedworld.com, my YouTube channel, Mark A. Sargent, will train others to do the same. Anyway, that is a perfect example of how not to troll somebody, because it is your intensity is completely lost. And look, a phone call comes in from 507 area code. You are on live and with Strange World. Who are you? Where are you from?
Are you live? Are you like a real person?
I could make up a Bill Gates voice, but I think it'd be insulting.
Oh, holy crap! I was just watching your video, man. That's actually pretty cool. I wanted to.
You have no idea that you're on a radio show right now, do you?
Oh, what? Really? How? I mean, what's the radio station?
That's okay. I'm doing a live broadcast right now, but if you don't mind, so you were watching which video was it called? They Are Hiding God, Under the Dome documentary.
Yeah, they're hiding God.
Perfect. And how far are you into it?
I'm about halfway.
Wow, cool. And you decided to call me.
Yeah, I mean, like, you popped up your number so many times. I'm like, well, that's probably the easiest way to get a hold of you, huh? For me, anyway.
That's okay. Again, it's cool. Yes, I absolutely am a real person. It's a real phone number that you called. The email address is real. That particular one that you're watching was a mashup of something I did at the beginning of 2015, February of 2015. Okay. But the whole concept is completely real. So if you want to have some fun, just when you're done with the video or whatever, just go into YouTube, type in Flat Earth, and just take a look at, I don't know, the first 10 videos that are there. In fact, I'm not even in the top 10 of the top 10 videos of Flat Earth. There's a lot of content out there.
To be honest, this is my third time watching your video.
Oh, wow. Have you watched anybody else's yet?
Well, this is something I've watched. Like, I've been like digging into Flat Earth a lot. I mean, but I like the way you put it out.
Well, thank you.
I like the way you like explain it. Honestly, this is probably the video is one of my most favorites because you explain like in depth. You're really like on point about what I'm talking about. And I just sometimes like you forget things and I just like rewatch it again just to like remember everything. And
yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and thank you. I tried to make it as concise as possible and get people thinking without confusing them with a whole bunch of math and science that most people wouldn't get anyway.
Right, and I like it a lot. And the reason I call you is because I just want to know if you had any. I know the Indian point that they are hiding God. I do believe that.
Yeah.
And I'm on the same page as you because I've done a lot of research myself. But wow, this is actually pretty cool.
That's all right. Take your time. What was the question?
Well, if you had any new information, I mean, like, what are you doing now? I mean,
Now
What's
I
happening
am
now with you?
basically, one, I'm doing interviews. Two, I am interviewing people. So if you want to have some fun, go to my main channel. You're not even, if you're just watching They Are Hiding God with the Greatest Lie Ever, that's not even my main channel. That's just a mirror that somebody took my videos and reposted it. Go to, you want to have some fun, listen to the subject matter experts. So are you online right now?
I am, actually. I am.
Okay, type in Flat Earth Clues into the
Flat
search.
Earth Clues?
Flat Earth Clues. And you'll see a channel there when you're looking down called Mark K. Sargent. Do you see that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
If you go to Mark K. Sargent, you'll see when you get to playlists, one of them is called Testimony Shows. That's where you should go next. And there's a whole bunch of content in there. Start listening to the subject matter experts, everything from military to engineers to pilots. Take your pick. There's a whole bunch of people in there that start talking about it. You want good, up-to-date, newer information, go start looking through that list.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see where you're at. Okay.
All right. Anyway, have fun. That's my channel, and when you get through a whole bunch of it, let me know and give me a call back, okay?
I'm so happy you're a real person, man. I really am.
Absolutely, I'm a real person. I'm out here currently in near Seattle, Washington.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to look at all these videos. So.
Cool, man. Hey, you have a good rest of your night.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. See? That's what happens. He didn't even know he was on the show. He was just calling. Which means he wasn't calling the show line. He was calling my other line, which was routing to this, which is why I have to ask people if they know they're on the show. Now, I'm not asking permission that I should use their voice or anything. But anyway, so that first email that I read was a perfect example of how not to troll. The message and the intensity and the fury or whatever was going on in his head was completely diffused by the sheer amount of alcohol he had consumed and the fact that even though English may have been his first language, he was still pretty much illiterate. The second email, however, which I'm going to be reading some of it during the break and some of it this may take up quite a bit of the show. This one is from Joseph Markle, Markle, and his email address is jmarkle433@gmail.com, and it is very polite. But it has a lot of questions. He's basically a guy that does not believe in flat Earth, and he's going to do his darndest to hang on to it. So let's see what kind of questions he has. Sir, perfect intro. Doesn't even say my name. Sir, I watched your YouTube video about the flat Earth and wonder if you seriously believe it, or is it just a contrived hoax? Absolutely, I believe it. Not a hoax. Truthfully, I hope the Earth is a rough sphere and orbits the Sun 93 million miles away, as the notion the Earth is disc-shaped with a dome and Antarctica around its edges is not very appealing. Okay. Your opinion? That's cool. But I wanted to offer you a few facts which have proved the Earth is a sphere and debunk some of the matter in your video. And again, for serious flat earthers, you're going to know these points right and left, forwards and backwards, up and down. Let's go through them. He's got quite a few. Here we go. 1, people do not fall off the South Pole because the spheroid shape of the Earth creates a spherical field of gravity, which pulls everything in it towards the center of the Earth. Again, a common answer, gravity. Science, that is the answer. Okay, tell me what gravity is. Tell me what you think gravity is. Gravity, from a scientific standpoint, is what the warping of time, space, and it is really a form of molecular magnetism that pulls everything towards the center because of density, even though we've never been able to run any sort of test like it on Earth to prove that. And who told you there was gravity? Honestly. I mean, again, not saying that there isn't gravity. I'm just saying that we can define gravity as well. Gravity exists on a flat Earth. Technically, things are pulling or pushing objects to the ground. No, not really different. 2, Einstein had an experiment in the early 20th century to prove, by the way, you keep spelling prove wrong, which worries me a little bit. You're spelling it with 2 O's. Some, I let it go the first time, but now it's the second point too, and you're using, again, some relativity, and it involved observing the stars near the sun during a total lunar eclipse. The stars appeared to be in a slightly different location because the gravitational field of the sun altered the space around the sun, so the starlight shifted. This could have not happened if the sun was only 4,000 miles above the Earth or smaller, as only a mass the size of our sun and distance could have produced those photographed effects in the experiment. Not a bad point. Unless, what is displayed in the sky is exactly what whoever built this place wanted us to see. So if they wanted to display gravitational distortion, they could have. And I may have to use that a few times in some of your questions here, and I know we've got a couple minutes to the break, but I want to make this point, which is when you go to a planetarium, I'm going to use the planetarium experiment or the example because it's very easy to do. They can display anything you want. So if you're in a planetarium, they can display the waxing and the waning of the moon cycles. They can display a blood moon. They can display every constellation. They can display fake comets. Not just, they can display anything you want. And if they want to display a gravitational distortion based on what you think, the stars are going to be when looking at the other side of the sun through a solar eclipse, then they can do that. Not that hard to do, but that's okay. Again, you're going off, you're going off solar system reinforcement models. Totally fine. But you got to remember that if the main core of the scientific research is based off of ultimately a bad foundation, then it's all bad. So again, I'm not saying, people say, "Oh, you think you're smarter than Albert Einstein and Stephen Hawking and Neil deGrasse Tyson and all these other guys." It's like, no, I'm not. I'm not saying that. I'm pretty intelligent and I'm quite clever, but I don't have to be smarter than them, because if their foundation, if their scientific foundation is flawed, let's just say it, out and out wrong, then their work, even though they spent their entire lives working on this stuff, building up these equations. Tesla said it best, where he said that scientists just keep building equations on top of other equations, never re-examining the core concept. And it gets more rickety as you get higher. And if something goes wrong, you're just pulling out the legs from underneath it, and the whole thing just comes collapsing down. So take that in mind when you're looking at solar system reinforcement models. Like anything, they say, well, you talk about a solar eclipse, or you're talking about the crescents of the moon, or you're talking about blood moons, or you're talking about sticks and shadows. All these things keep pointing back to the same scientists that say that, that they believed in the solar system when they woke up, and so everything that their work is based on a concept which appears to be completely wrong. We got a few seconds to the break. I don't want to get into the next question yet. Phone number to call in is 720-897-6111. That number is 720-897-6111. Don't go anywhere.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are DFR, your protection from deception.
Welcome back to Strange World, part 2 of 4. It is the last show of the year, and I am reading, not really a troll email, but a kind of a debunker email, because he's not really being insulting. If it's well thought out and well put together, I'll read it. Sure, why not? I mean, I sometimes welcome it, because I get a lot of emails, not knocking them. I do love the pats on the back, love them. But every once in a while, I want to see what the opposition has to throw at me. And at least this guy is willing to put his name out there and come up with some decent questions. Granted, all these questions I have heard before, but it's good because maybe as you as a flat earther, and when it's out there, will be sort of prepared, because these are the standard questions that come at you. You know, some of them aren't as dense as others. So anyway, let's get right to it. When the phone number comes in, 929 area code. Okay, I'm picking up 929 first. Can't pick up 909 yet. You are on live with Strange World. Who are you and where are you from?
Hi, I didn't know I was going to be live. This is Sherry Veronica. I'm calling from Seattle, Washington.
Hey, I'm right up the road from you on Whidbey Island.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were going to be on. I called you last night, and I guess you were asleep. I called you like around 2 a.m. in the morning, which is that is not a good thing.
That's okay.
But
Go ahead.
I had a question, and I'm calling from Naked Departure, and I've been listening to you recently, and I also just finished listening to another Flat Earth person that says there's no space. The dome does not accommodate that. There's just nothing outside the dome.
Yeah.
Now, if there's no space, and we are taught that the woman's menstrual period is regulated by the moon, and how do people get pregnant? Are we supposed to examine that? And where do we go when we die? Are we recirculated? What happens?
That is
are we recycled?
You know what? And here I was saying that I've heard just about every question I could hear. You know, in this case, I have never heard that question before. No one's posed that to me. Do I think that souls are? So you're basically asking, when people
It's everything.
people die, do the souls do they kind of get reconstituted back inside the system?
Yeah. Are we recycled? Yes, because we have to look at childbirth. We have to actually look at the sperm and the egg, and we have to examine that, because if what you are saying is true, we have to look at how are we brought in? Is it really the sperm and the egg?
Good question. However, I think your initial statement was a little off, because some flat earthers have maybe said that, but I've never said that. I don't think there is nothing outside of here. I think that we are basically a giant snow globe in the middle of a much larger area. It doesn't have to be necessarily space, planets and a solar system and a galaxy out there. It could be just another big room. Or it could be what I like to say, an unlimited dimension. And I've said many times that I think we're in here voluntarily. I think it's part of an education system. So when you die, I do think you leave here. No question. I don't think the soul is necessarily trapped here, and that you have to be reincarnated back inside this very same system. I think you do leave. So I don't think there's any conflict there. When it comes to the moon and the sun and how it controls any subtle aspects about our body and our body chemistry, yes, that will absolutely have to be revisited. Not only that, but everyone says, well, doesn't the moon control the tides? And I'm going, well,
exactly.
It's like, not if it's only about 30 miles wide and, a couple thousand miles up. If that's the case, then the tides are controlled by systems down below. No different than it would be on a Hollywood soundstage. Or the example that I like to use is the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, where the moon's in the sky, but, it's just a painting. It's just a light up in the sky, whereas everything is...
I've never believed that there was a sky. I've never believed in the lights out there. I've never believed that. So, sometimes you listen to something and it's scary, because you're saying to yourself, I've always had these questions, and here it is that someone is providing an answer, but yet even though it's an answer, it's not an answer because I have more with one thing. You're made to ask more questions. Who is this God? Who did this?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, which is really kind of how I started making the clues, because I realized that human beings are the only species on this planet that would even care about such a thing. That's why you don't want to ever show them the edge. You don't want to ever show them the fence. You want them to make believe that there is no fence, that it's completely invisible and it's silly to look for it because there's nothing to look for. Because once human beings discover that, like, for whatever reason, everyone's kind of waking up to it right now. Once they figure that out, that's when the questions start burning. Who made it? Why are we here? Who's out there? What is their, what is their intention towards us? And it just keeps going on and on from there. The questions are never ending. So,
but who would create this? Who would create a place that there are wars and children are raped, and we know they're pedophiles, and they're we know that people have really bad minds. Yes,
that's a great question. It's one of the oldest questions that they've talked about on television and movies for years, which is it's probably the number one question you would ask God if you ever met him, and which is, why did you let bad things happen to good people?
No, I wasn't asking that. No.
Well,
that will not be my question. My question to him or her or it, whoever would create this, is why do you get? Is he getting what gratification does he get having Aleppo, for instance, in Syria? Is he watching that and having some sort of reaction? I mean, is this something that pleases him? And even our bodies with the excrement and the woman's menstrual period, and where you will have a anus right next to the private other area that you enjoy. Even the design of the human body. Who would do that? Who would create something like this?
I hear you. I mean, of course, I'm not going to speak for God, but at the same time, I could say that, if it's an education process for us, maybe it's an education process for it at the same time, because I have no doubt in my mind that there have been previous versions of us that that we may be version 7 or version 8. That the old texts talk about there was a time when there wasn't even a sun and the moon in the sky. That's how the early versions were. They were just light and dark, and the continents were just one giant superstructure called Pangea, and that things not necessarily evolved, but were tinkered with over the course of how many years we don't know. So yeah, I know what you mean, and which is also why I kind of touched on it in the clues, where I said that. And again, I don't want to sound callous when I say this, but the one gift that our civilization has, and I can't speak for other civilizations, is that we tend to create even more beauty and majesty and creative force when we are in the middle of strife. If that makes sense. When we're content, we create some nice things, but it seems like the suffering. Look at all the great artists, the great singers, the great composers, and how they have their best works were in the middle of horrible pain and suffering.
But that's a perspective. That's a perspective that you have to look at. That's a way of thinking.
Yeah.
Let's talk about slavery, for example, and I use that same measuring post that you had, that same thought process that you had just now.
Yeah.
And let's think about slavery, and they say, okay, you are working 7 days a week, so okay, we're going to give you a day off. And with that day off, people can find joy in that. People can, have time with their families in that. And then it graduated really. The people say, okay, there's emancipation. There's no more slavery. But what they did was they put the whole earth in slavery.
Yeah.
And we live here, but you pay land taxes. You have to pay taxes for your car. We are still driving in cars that have gas in them. Gasoline. We have to go to a gas station to fill up our tanks. And I'm sure there's more knowledge out there that we can afford to do electricity. We are electrical beings. We live in an electric
I agree.
universe.
I agree.
Maybe. So there's someone running this earth, and that someone or that something or these particular set of people, they're not here for us growing and us creating magnificent
Yeah,
things.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
They are here for us to serve them. We are literally here to serve.
Yeah, I got your point. No, I hear you. Let's do this, because you and I could probably talk offline for a whole bunch longer, and unfortunately this is a limited show.
Okay, that's okay.
Do me a favor.
Thank you.
What's your schedule look like tomorrow?
I'm free. I'll be free.
Give me a call. Leave me your number, and I will. I will probably be here most of the day tomorrow. I do have a show in the afternoon, but let's talk about some stuff. And
okay, what time is best for you?
Sometime before noon tomorrow, probably the best.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty.
Give me a buzz.
So
thank you, and I'm sorry, kind of I had to catch you off guard.
That's okay. That's quite okay. It's quite okay.
All right. Well, hey, you have a good rest of your night. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye. Before we take the next call, I wanted to read something really fast from the Peanut Gallery, because I'm still trying to go through the debunker email, and what we were doing was reading this, and it's from Dilbert, the comic strip. You guys have probably heard this before on a different show, but I think it's worth repeating, where Dilbert is talking to Dogbert, and Dilbert says, and how I will pick up that phone call, and I swear in 1 second, I'm going to read this first though. And we know mass creates gravity because more dense planets have more gravity. And Dogbert says, well, how do we know which planets are more dense? Dilbert says, they have more gravity. Dogbert says, that's circular reasoning. Dilbert says, I prefer to think of it as having no loose ends. And it's a great tie-in to how science will define, for example, the cores and every layer of Jupiter and Saturn, even though we've only drilled down 8 miles in the Earth. I'm going to pick up this unknown phone call. Let's see what we got. You are on live with Strange World, even though you're unknown. Who are you? Where are you from?
This is the amazing Jonathan from New Jersey. How you doing?
Jonathan, why are you calling the show live? Seriously?
What do you mean, why am I calling it live? We used to always do it live. You haven't talked to me in months and months and months to try to get through to you and Patricia. What's going on?
That is true, but I don't think now is the time.
What do you mean? Now's the perfect time.
Oh, jeez. Well, we will be talking to Jonathan later. Anyway, back to what I was talking about, the planets. So if we have only drilled down 8 miles on our planet, but they show us all the bands of the Earth, which is red and orange and yellow and a blindingly white center, even though we drilled down 8 miles, and they don't know, science will come out and tell you straight up, we don't know what's through the core of our Earth. What are they telling us about Jupiter and Saturn and Neptune and all these other planets? They don't know. Anyway, back to the email from the guy that's trying to debunk Flat Earth. Number 3, those many photos of rays from the sun converging to a point in the sky. They usually occur during cloud cover from the moisture in the clouds, which acts as a prism effect on the rays, not to mention the angle of observation of the observer. Like different observers on different places would see the rays converging in a different place and not where the sun really is. Actually, this is one of his better arguments, because I sort of agree with you there. I do. But can you prove that the sun is 93 million miles away by doing that? No, you cannot. The sticks and shadow argument doesn't apply either. The argument is this. They're saying with sticks and shadows, or by observing the sun, the angle of the rays, that you can tell that the sun is 93 million miles away, and it's hundreds of thousands of miles in diameter. Unless it is actually 30 miles in diameter and very, very close. And this is also very, very possible. You're trying to figure out where you're going with this. Okay, you take a pen, because human beings are very, very bad at perspective. If you take a pen and you hold it up, we've all done this as kids, you hold it up really close to your face. Is the pen close to your face, close to your eye, or is it really, really huge? And you're going, well, it can't be really, really huge, even though it's, optical illusion. You can kind of make believe that it's really, really huge. It's like, no, because we know it's a pen and we know it's close to our face. I'm going, okay, take a ball, any ball will do, and suspend it on whatever you want, a string somewhere in front of a blank wall. You will have and do this to somebody that doesn't know how big the ball was to begin with, and put them in a chair in front of it. They're really bad at telling how big the ball is in comparison to the wall that's far away. You just don't know. And we'll go with the motion test, which I talked about in Clue 12, which was if a car, we've all done this where we're in stop and go traffic. If you're in a car and all of a sudden the car next to you either moves forward or moves back, and you freak out. You don't know for a second. It's like, holy smokes, I let off the brake. You don't know if you're moving or the car is moving. They've done university tests on this where they put people in fake cars and they either move the car very slowly, forward or back, or they move the wall in front of them forward and back. And no one can tell, it's a crapshoot, which is moving, the car or the wall. So hopefully it sort of answers the question. I mean, I get it. I get what your sun argument is, but your argument still does not prove that the sun is very huge and 93 million miles away. Does it really prove that in our case that it's not? Not as much. No, it's not one of our strongest arguments. But at the same time, I don't use it in any of the clues. Remember, when it comes to the flat Earth, we are not creating, a perfect, indisputable model. You say, well, you have no proof of the flat Earth. It's like, well, we don't really have to give you absolute proof of the flat Earth. All we have to do is treat it like a court case and create reasonable doubt in the globe. That's all we have to do, because that should be impossible. There should be so much evidence on the globe side that you never ever, flat Earth shouldn't be able to get a foothold. And what's happening is the exact opposite. So, number 4, the size of the setting sun is often determined by the temperature of the air near the horizon and its density and its color. Okay? The size of the setting sun is often determined by the temperature of the air near the horizon and its density and its color. Okay, that's fine. Again, not one of the arguments that I use. If you want to go with that, that's totally fine. Show me a whole bunch of visual examples that correspond with what we've been showing, with the sun kind of getting smaller and getting larger as it goes through the sky. But I get it. Number 5, recently a thermal inversion east of Chicago caused it to be visible from Grand Rapids, recently, really, on the other side of Lake Michigan. Normally, it is not visible due to curvature of the Earth and the size of Lake Michigan. These inversions occur much more frequently on the oceans and bodies of water, and the results are more easily visible than inversion on land as horizon is clear. What you might be seeing, you see, you got a problem already when you start using words like that. What you might be seeing on the ocean is due to a thermal inversion, warmer water near horizon. Hopefully I included it in this video when I put this on YouTube, but if not, you can ask for it. It's on YouTube. I didn't make it myself. The still shots, if we only had still shots of the Chicago skyline from the other side of Lake Michigan, yeah, you might, let's see what I did there, have some sort of an argument, but you don't, because we have time lapse of it from the beach on the Michigan, from the other side of Lake Michigan, showing 12 hours, I think, of the Chicago skyline. As clear as it can be, going through rain and clouds coming over. It goes from light to dark. And in fact, when it turns dark, and nothing wavers, nothing changes perspective. It doesn't invert and revert. It doesn't get all blurry. And when you get to the nighttime, it's clear enough that you can actually see the cleaning crews. Everyone's gone home. The cleaning crews starting from the top floor and working their way down, and the lights start changing as they go floor to floor. That's unless you can tell me that it's a mirage, that it's an illusion, that's 12 hours long and going through weather and light and darkness. Not buying it. 845 area code. Let's pick you up. Who are you and where are you from?
Am I calling live? Is this live?
Yes, it is.
funny you're getting people that call in and not know.
I know. Well, I have to ask them every once. I should have said that. Well, what I can usually tell in the first sentence or two if they're if they know they're on the show or not. So.
Oh, I know. It's too
but
funny.
hey, what's going on in New York?
Not much. Hanging out. I still didn't get my damn plates.
That's all right. I mean, I'm still including your screenshot, which some people still claim that it's photoshopped.
I'll send you my registration.
No, don't do that. No, it's amazing though, because I actually had a guy post. I generally do not read comments, but I had a guy post in there. It's like, why are you only showing the plates and not the cars? It's like that would make it more legitimate because you couldn't Photoshop a plate onto the car. It's like, come on, give me a break.
Too
funny. But
I gotta say, that lady's question about the menstrual cycle. that was
wow. I honestly, that was the first original question I've gotten in at least 6 months.
Well, it's great because it just goes to show how deep the lies and deception are.
Yeah.
I mean, it cuts every bit of knowledge that we think we have, that we own because we believe it. Oh, crazy.
Oh yeah. Good for her. I'm glad she's listening. Glad she came up with an angle that, and it's good that she asked me because she could have gone through 1,000 YouTube videos and never found that. No one's even brought that up as far as I know.
No, I've never heard that before. I mean, I've always wondered about like how come.
Hey, you're breaking up there for a second.
Works out.
Hey, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry, you were breaking up for a second.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Terrible New York cell phones.
That's all right.
No, wondering about that, the 28-day thing.
Yeah.
It would be 13 months would be perfect. 28 days.
Yeah.
Very strange.
I agree. Anyway, so you caught that I'm trying to deal with this debunker guy, and he's got like 17 questions, I think. More than that.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to 2017, what that's going to bring.
Man, I've got a funny feeling. I do. I got a funny feeling it's good. Well, it gives. Well, I mean, because it starts off. The year starts off with the inauguration, and then it's solidified. It's one thing. How people are weird this way. It's one thing to elect someone. It's another thing to be. When it's real, when it's solidified.
I was going to say to actually let them be president.
Yeah, it's okay, fine, we elected you, but you're not actually going to do it, are you? It's like daring somebody to. It's like signing up for bungee jumping. Anybody can sign up for bungee jumping, but lots of people back out, and even more back out of skydiving. Yeah, so they get up with the plane. It sounds like a fantastic idea till you get up around 5,000 feet, and it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. So we'll see. What was the big controversy with Donald right now, where he no one will perform right now. He can't get freaking entertainers to sing at his inauguration.
Really?
Yeah. That's a tough call.
Weird.
I know. You think, money talks.
Boycotting him? I mean, really?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's a weird. I don't understand some of these ones they try to throw at us. It's all just to keep us busy, so we got stuff to talk about.
Yeah. And notice, by the way, I have not brought up Carrie Fisher yet.
I went and saw. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned her. Not because she's dead. I mean, it's sad.
Yeah, nice. Good cover. Yeah.
I still love Star Wars. I know it's a fantasy, and I know that, watching these movies now, it's like, oh, that can't really happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still good entertainment.
Oh yeah.
And I just went to see today the new Star Wars Rogue One.
What'd you think?
And in the beginning, it was good. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. They did a good job. It was good. I don't want to ruin it.
All right, no spoilers.
It was good. I will say this: it ends right at the very beginning of 4. of New Hope.
Okay. That's what I thought they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my friend's like, oh, this isn't anything else, episode 8, or I'm like, no. This is a prequel. It's
this
weird.
is a prequel, which was weird because they jumped back. It's like, okay, let's go forward now. Let's jump all the way back.
Yeah, but they did I thought they did a good job.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say in the very beginning, it was kind of interesting because I haven't seen this in any other real space movies.
Make it quick because we're going to break. Go ahead.
They were showing parallax of the stars as the ships were moving. You could see the stars were, different angles because of the parallax. It was just interesting that they took the time to put that in their CGI. It was very interesting.
Nice. I like that. That's really, really cool. And an excellent point. And maybe they were doing that because of the whole 3D thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking too, because it was in 3D. It was good. I like I said, for entertainment value, they're still decent movies.
Nice.
It's just sad that it's not possible.
Hey, man, we are going to break, but thank you. We'll talk to you next time, okay?
All righty. You have a safe New Year.
All right, you too, man.
Much.
See you soon.
All right, keep up the good work.
All right, bye-bye.
You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
We are TFR. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to Strange World, part 3 of 4. And that means we are going to do a little Flat Earth news, and we are going to shamelessly plug my websites. One would be enclosedworld.com. One would be marksargent.com. And as I'm saying this, 262 is calling in. You are on live with Strange World. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you want?
Hey, my name is Warren.
Hey, Warren.
And I'm from Milwaukee, and
Cool.
I've been watching your videos.
Cool.
And I think they're pretty interesting, and I've been looking into stuff like that before watching your videos and figuring stuff out. So,
Right on. Well, that's great. How long have you been looking into this stuff?
well, I first started maybe 6 years ago, but then I didn't do anything for a while because I didn't fully understand it.
Sure.
And then I don't know what made me get back into it, but I got back into it a couple months ago.
Right on.
And then I've found some tools that helped me embrace it significantly. So
Cool. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's great to hear, and keep doing the research because there's a lot of stuff out there to go through, and this thing just keeps getting bigger every week.
Yep. So what I was wondering, what's your objective with everything?
To create the 100th monkey effect, to be perfectly blunt, to where enough people realize that there's a fundamental shift in the way people think, that they realize that they're not alone. They've never been alone. They've never been this silly little tiny speck of dust flying through an infinite universe, empty universe, mind you, filled mostly with nothing, just the vacuum of space, and that we are the center of something very intimate and powerful and creative and very nurturing. And once we know that, we'll stop doing horrible things to each other on a regular basis. That's my goal. I mean, do I think we can create the next golden age? Yeah, maybe, but at the very least, look, it can't get any worse than it is now. I mean, some people say, well, no, it'll freak people out and they'll just start burning things down. I was going, you mean burning things they've already burned before? Those things?
Yeah.
So that's my goal. It's not necessarily to get rich or look. I didn't ask to do this. This was just something that just snuck up on me, and all of a sudden, here we are, coming up on 2 years later. That I can't believe the speed and the volume that this thing has picked up to where scientists are running and nobody in the scientific community wants to deal with this. And it's great. The retention rate's awesome and the traction's great. So anyway, that's my...
It's crazy no one in the scientific community wants to do anything with it when it involves science pretty heavily.
Yeah.
It kind of mixes everything together where it makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess what my objective is I mean, if anyone's objective, and I'm sure there's plenty of them out there, to get rich, they're not going to get very far.
Yeah.
Because, if everyone's working together, the money comes by itself anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if it happens, it happens. And I'm just humbled to be a part of this thing, whatever it is. I don't think it's an accident. I think it's part of a greater picture. And anything I can do to get the truth out there. And people say, well, aren't you scared about people coming to you and agents and doing this? Like, look, no, I can't. I'm in a position where I can't be bought and I can't really be threatened. So
that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
The people who are scared are the ones who either don't fully understand it or the ones trying to use it for the wrong reason.
Yeah, exactly. Because you shouldn't be afraid of anything if you fully believe in this. Because it's so huge that there's nothing bigger. There's nothing big enough on this planet to be scared of. He was like, "Oh, well, no,
right.
they'll torture you and kill you." It's like, really? Honestly, I can't think of a more romantic way to go than to be a martyr for a greater cause. But that's just me.
Yeah, for me, it's like no one even needs to be a martyr, and fear is all fear does is prevent things from happening and moving forward.
Yep, it freezes people. Yep,
or just going the opposite direction that you need to go.
Yep,
and standing still, I guess, would be the opposite too, if you think about it.
Yep,
and then I don't know. I just think kind of we're all in this together, and the more people, for me, I've just kind of been tried to be a good person. I mean, I'm only 27, but for the most, since I can remember, and that's, networked me with a lot of people that I wouldn't say I've earned, not that would be a thing anymore, but I've met significant individuals without doing anything significantly to get there, and I've earned the trust of many.
Nice.
Although talking about stuff like that, people think you're crazy, but I make the point to say I know exactly how I sound, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, I know. I for one believe you. There's so many, the chain of events that affects a person's life. Sometimes it's unbelievable. I'm living proof of it. So no, when you say stuff like that, who am I to question? I mean, I opened my day with Flat Earth. I'm not gonna question that. So
where are you from?
Originally, I am from Whidbey Island. That's up in northwest of Seattle.
Okay.
So up in a quiet little rural place. I didn't believe in any lies whatsoever. I literally did not believe that any sort of people in power would lie to you until I watched JFK in the theaters in the early 90s. And then all of a sudden it was like, holy smokes, people do lie. And
I didn't know people could lie either until, I remember, I was brought up Catholic.
Yeah.
So I was always kind of really afraid to lie, and then when I did, I'd feel extremely guilty, and I didn't think adults lied, because when you're adult, that's just how it is. But yeah, but then it's the people who are doing the most of that, trying to manipulate people for their own benefit, they're not even happy anyway.
Agreed.
So what's the point?
Agreed. Absolutely agree.
Look at all the politicians. Do they look like they have a happy life?
Oh,
because they have to put on a front 24/7. Because if they get caught, there you go.
Yeah, they sold their souls a long time ago. Hey, I hate to do this to you, but I've got a whole bunch of things I got to get through. Any shout-outs you want to give before you head off back into the darkness?
Not off the top of my head.
No, nobody?
I think.
Okay.
Just everyone.
All right. All right. Well, hey, you have a good one then, and we will be probably talking to you soon, okay?
All right, sounds good, Mark.
All right, bye-bye. All right, I'm picking up 701 area code first because he's been trying, whoever it is, has been trying to call me now for a while. So I will pick up 330 area code soon. 701, are you there? Where are you from?
Yes. Hi, Mark. This is Sheila. I'm the truck driver. My husband and I drive the truck, and we called, I guess, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, right on. That's right.
Yeah. We're heading up I-5, heading to Portland right now.
Cool.
Going to get some home time in Washington. That's where we live.
Fantastic.
We live on the other side. On the Eastern Washington is where we live.
Hey, I know Eastern Washington very well. I spent my first 25 years were in Washington. So we I'll just throw out some examples the audience may or may not get. We used to vacation in Lake Chelan. I did basketball camps in Spokane and in Walla Walla. I spent a very drunken year. My first year of college was at Wazoo, Washington State.
Okay.
And Eastern Washington's it's a great place. My dad's side of my family is from Eastern Washington. Apple orchards, the whole 9 yards.
Oh yeah. Well, that's where we're in. We live up in the mountain near Orwell on the Canadian border.
Orwell. During a state tournament when I played basketball, one of the final, that wasn't the Final Four game, my junior year we played Orwell because they were the same size school as us over here on the island.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, we live in a little ghost town called Molson.
Wow. I have not heard of that one though.
No? Okay.
Cool.
It's up in the Okanagan Highlands, very beautiful. Orville and then there's Omak and Apple Valley.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Yeah.
Any particular thing you want to talk about?
Yes. My husband and I, we've been talking. We have some questions about the sun and the moon that maybe you might be able to address.
Sure.
Maybe it's in one of your Flat Earth clues. I haven't watched all of yours. I've watched a lot, but not all. So, has anybody really measured or calculated how far up the sun and the moon are? And because, like in the Freemasonry beliefs, is that the sun, in Enoch it says the sun and the moon are the same size.
Yeah.
So, and the Freemasons believe this.
Yep.
But I was watching a video the other night where the balloon went way up in a high altitude and did the 360 circuit.
Yeah.
Could see the sun, and I was like, "Where's the moon? Is it just like so far away, or so far across, or?"
Yeah, well, it's so far away, but the big thing with the moon is, remember, it's not generating even 1/100th of the illumination of the sun, which is why it's way easier to miss when you're looking at weather balloons. So that's why the moon, the sun is always it's a great illusion. The sun is deceivingly large because of its massive radiance. You can't even look at it directly, but yeah, it looks. Right. But again, that weird coincidence in the solar system where the moon covers the sun perfectly, and they say, well, yeah. It's 400. Yeah, it's exactly not exactly, but it's 400 times narrower than the sun, but it's also 400 times closer than the sun. And it's like, wow, that's great time. Great coincidence there.
Sure.
Perfect placement. So as far as to answer your question though, as far as how far the sun is away, estimates really range when you're talking to people in the community. I mean, most people can kind of agree on the size. That yes, the Book of Enoch pretty much sums it up, even though the Enoch doesn't give it, I think, its exact size. We're guessing between 30 and 35 miles wide each, but it could be anywhere from, I don't know, less than 1,000 miles to several thousand miles up. We just don't know. But either way, and could it be inside the firmament or outside the firmament? It could be either.
Well, that's the other question, because in the second book of Enoch, I believe it says the sun is in the fourth heaven, and the moon is actually inside the firmament. So which makes me think, okay, is this in layers? Is this like the Van Allen belt supposed to be radiation? And there's somebody was speculating that the Van Allen belt may be the firmament. So
Yeah, there
we've
you
got
go.
these different layers going on.
Yeah. I think the Van Allen belt is the tiniest shred of truth that they wanted to reveal without actually giving it away. But when they did it, of course, they shot themselves in the foot because they said, "Oh yeah, it's super deadly. No one can get through it." And then it's like,
Yeah,
we're gonna do a space program. We got to get through it. It's like, well, how are you going to do that? Well, we're not going to talk about it. What?
Right, but this new spacecraft Orion will be able to go through there. Yeah, but
well, it wouldn't matter anyway, though, because even if they did get past the the movie which they released, the Orion Trial by Fire video, which they said that our first things with the capsule are going to be unmanned because we don't know how to deal with radiation. Don't know why they said that, but the bigger problem is that logistically is that no one's figured out how to get back from Mars. Even with our existing technology, you just don't have enough fuel if you believed in the solar system. So why are they talking about Mars? It's a one-way trip. You thought the moon was dicey. Going to Mars, it's not like the movies Red Planet and Mission to Mars. No. You go there, that's it. You're setting up camp and you're never going anywhere. You're just going to have to keep sending rockets over and over and over and just hope that you don't run out of resources. It's just awful. No one's going to Mars. That's the bottom line. No one's ever.
Exactly.
Even though China released a story today saying, "Oh yeah, we've got a total plan to go to Mars." Really? Really? How are you going to do it? You just have people stand on top?
They're all in it together. Yeah. All these space agencies are in it together.
Absolutely they are.
Absolutely. And how they perpetrate this lie is just the biggest thing. I think the next big lie thing is going to be disclosure.
Yeah.
With the aliens. So
it has to be, because if it doesn't, it would be if you don't disclose it with somebody else intervening, another civilization, I don't care where they're from. If another civilization doesn't intervene, you open yourself up to a lawsuit so big. You thought the AIG debacle with the whole real estate thing, too big to fail. You thought that was big. No. NASA and the corresponding space agencies would be so big that it could potentially collapse the world economy. It would be. There's too many companies that are tied to it that are just gigantic. Anyway.
Yeah.
Any other quick things? I hate to do this to you, but the phone calls are backing up. What?
No, that's okay. We'll probably call back again. I'm working on my husband's son. He's an electrical engineer, and started sending him some videos. So
send him the structural engineer. Send him something from Brian Mullen if he's an engineer, electrical engineer.
I did. I sent him the whole series. Whether he's watching them or not is.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry. Give everyone has their own absorption period. He'll get it when he gets it.
Yeah, right. He's a smart kid. So yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much.
Hey, no
very
worries.
Much, Mark, Happy New Year.
And I don't want you calling back until 2017. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Sure will. Okay. All right. Take care.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Next phone call, because they won't stop, is 330 area code. Who are you? Where are you from? And do you realize that this is the last show of the year?
Oh, yeah, I know it's a live show, Mark. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are things?
I'm all right. This is Derek from Ohio.
Hey.
Been listening to the show for about a year now.
Wow.
I enjoy it. I also listen on Monday nights too. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I just have a burning curiosity. Why'd you have to hang up on John before? I know he used to be on the show, and it just looks shady, from where I'm sitting.
It's okay. I don't mind. No, I don't mind answering this question. It is because I know. You say, well, because you don't answer my calls. Like, look, you want to get through to me through other channels. Don't call up on the show and all of a sudden we're going to discuss stuff out of the blue. For people that don't know, Jonathan was my co-host for a good chunk of 2015. And he quit the show once at the end of 2015, and then he came back when the whole Neil deGrasse Tyson B.O.B. rapper thing came on. And then he quit again, but it was the way he quit that rubbed me the wrong way, which was he posted that he was quitting on somebody else's Facebook page that he was yelling at. And it's like, and I did not even know. Somebody had to tell me. They had to cut and paste this and email it to me. And they go, by the way, Jonathan quit the show. I was like, what? What are you talking about? So that's why I did not want to be abrupt with him. I didn't say anything insulting when I was hanging up. I was trying to be nice. And I've got nothing personal, no beef with Jonathan. It's just that it's not something I want to deal with at the moment. How's that?
That's hey, listen. That's honestly, it's none of my business. Actually, you got to understand from where I'm sitting, and I think it's important that in the flat Earth community and anybody talking about this kind of stuff that we believe and that we don't have doubt in the people that we're getting information from.
No, I got you. No. I'm not trying to be clandestine with what I'm doing. It's just in his case, it's like, look, I didn't start this. In fact, I had nothing to do with leaving the show. Will Jonathan and I work again down the road? Hey, we might. You never know. I'm not going to count anything out. I mean, Eric Dubé and I might work together, or Matt and I, or all sorts of people. All that stuff is still up in the air. So no, I'm not trying to do anything weird or anything like that. I just cut him off because look, I don't want to talk about this right now, which is why I kind of asked him. So I'm sure we will open up some sort of dialogue down the road. I'm not too concerned. Anyway, what else you got?
Mark, honestly, that's it. But I'll let you go, man. I read a lot of stuff on Facebook. He says you did your graphics, this and that. And I don't know the guy. I'm telling you, I'm a listener. I read things and then I hear things. And then like I said, he called in and you kind of didn't want, and you know what? Maybe that shouldn't be on the air. I don't know. But
again,
I just wanted
the old
to ask
saying, airing dirty laundry in public, you try not to do it if you can. I don't, but thank you. You know what? Since you brought it up, I didn't realize that other people were taking that much interest in this. I will see if I will do what I can to see if I can mend some of the fences here. Okay.
Okay. Take care, Mark.
All right. Have a good one. All right. We got a few minutes to the break. Let me see if we can still punch out some of these questions from the guys trying to debunk Flat Earth in the email, which I don't know if I'll finish, but I do want to read one of the other emails I'll read it in the next segment. Let's see here. Number 6, your remarks about Mr. Bird were not quite correct. When he flew over the South Pole at Antarctica, he reputedly saw a large circular opening in the ground, flew his plane inside and came upon a civilization with a big city, etc. This may be the remains of Atlantis, and he spoke to reporters in Argentina, and though the United States government hushed him up and locked up his diaries, those other nations did not, and you can find out the details by reviewing their newspapers from the time. He did not report he ran into a barrier like a dome. The circular opening still exists. But the U.S. military is guarding it. A recent retiree divulged the details, says it harbors strange life forms in a deep lake thousands of feet down. It is near Vostok Lake. Now some observers claim pyramids exist on Antarctica. Yeah, I think you're mixing a lot of things here, because the original story was that Bird flew over the North Pole in 1926 and flew into a hole, and supposedly the whole journey to the center of the Earth thing, but which here's where it gets strange. Then he spent the rest of his life from 1928 till his death in 1957 at the South Pole, or what we call Antarctica. So I think you're mixing a lot of different things here. And I don't know why you would bring a lot of that stuff up just because we're talking about flat Earth. You're kind of helping me in some cases, by at least creating the mystery that surrounds Antarctica. Number 7, Antarctica has appeared on maps made by humans for thousands of years. Some of these maps made 500 years ago show a continent without ice, and Antarctica exists as a continent on the spheroid bottom of the Earth. It is photographed for over a century. It's not the perimeter of the Earth. Photographed for over a century. Okay. Now your debunking skills are losing a little bit of credibility, because the first picture taken of Antarctica in its entirety, if you believe it, and I don't, the first picture was 1972. That was not a century ago, not that long ago. Okay, so in fact, that picture taken by Apollo 17, if you believe it, the only continent that it shows in entirety was Antarctica. You would have thought that since it was an American space program, they would have taken a picture of North America, somewhere in the United States. They did not. They took part of the bottom part of Africa and Antarctica. So, okay, let's move on from there. And so, yeah, just because you say that there's a picture of it, yeah, you're not convincing me. Number 8, the climate of the Earth and the prevailing winds. North Hemisphere, the winds move from west to east due to rotation of the Earth and tilt on its axis and spherical shape. Again, you're just reading out of a science book. Southern Hemisphere is the opposite directions. Take a look at Rob Skiba's wonderful weather pattern model where they switch to the azimuthal equidistant map and they're looking at it from the top down and you're seeing a flat Earth map with the weather systems going around it. Much more elegant. Just so you know, it works way better. Another minute to the break. Let's see if I can do this one. The North Pole is cold. Great opening statement. So is the South Pole, because these two areas are located at the top and the bottom of a spheroid Earth, and these areas get less sunshine than those parts near the equator because they are further from the sun at certain times of the year, not because the sun is above a flat Earth. It also rises and sets in predicted horizontal locations because of a spherical Earth in 93 million miles distance. You're just reading out of a science textbook. Break out, man. Come on. I know you want to believe in science. I know you do. But despite what Neil deGrasse Tyson says, science is not always right, whether you believe in it or not. Can we do one more before we go to the break? I don't think we can. But when we come back, we will finish up this. We'll take a few more calls. The phone number to call in is 720-897-6111. Oh, yeah, Flat Earth News. Real quick. This week, Flat Earth Asshole, the Morguile, both taking on some people. And Rich 2150X, he's doing some good stuff. ODD Reality doing some good stuff. West Truther, that Mark Sargent guy, Divine Existence, The Truth Files, Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. I'm doing a show with them tomorrow. Stay tuned.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. The Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to Strange World. I'm your host, Mark Sargent, and this is part 4 of 4. We are going to try our darndest to finish up the person that's trying to debunk Flat Earth via email, because I do enjoy those, and I don't get enough, in my opinion. So we're down towards the last part of this, and we're going to number 10. You are not correctly observing what you are seeing, or you do not understand the truth of your perception. You are disseminating a very disturbing notion of reality, which has abandoned long ago. Also, Copernicus and Galileo determined the heliocentric nature of solar system by observing the planets and their motions in the sky. And I'm sorry, did I not say it? I didn't. By the way, that was Joe Jackson stepping out from his album Night and Day. And thank you, Peanut Gallery, for reminding me, because I'm sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once here, and but I didn't completely abandon you. I think I would have gotten it eventually. I think something would have jogged my memory, maybe. But thank you, Joe Jackson, Night and Day. A great song. I love that. My favorite of all his songs. Okay. Copernicus and Galileo did the heliocentrics by observing the planets in their motions in the sky, and they could only move as they do if the sun were at the center of the solar system, and they had different distances from the sun in their orbits. It would be almost impossible to duplicate such motions in a dome, because we can't do that. We can't do it. Neil deGrasse Tyson can't do that at the Hayden Planetarium, which he oversees right now. We can't show all the suns in their orbits. We don't have the software and graphic capability to duplicate any of this stuff at all. Wow. Lack of, and you're supposed to have faith in science, and you don't have faith in technology? Talk about a paradox. Number 11, and this is in all caps, by the way, this last part. Who is trying to persuade you of this flat earth notion anyway? I have seen a lot of similar videos. I think these videos reveal more about their maker than the earth. Their perceptions are kind of flat instead of dynamic. Would you really rather have the earth be a flat discoid and a large dome? Question mark. Yes. Yes, I absolutely would. It's more elegant. It's easier to understand. It's more intimate. It's more powerful to the creative spirit. You bet I would. He says, then I think God did a wonderful job in other ways, like via the Big Bang, maybe. Okay. All right. You are a conflicted individual because you're combining the Big Bang with God. So God was the Big Bang. Remember, science says that God had nothing to do with the Big Bang. Science, pure science, says the Big Bang just happened on its own. There is no God. Zach, how can, Peanut Gallery says, how can nothing explode? Damn right. And the universe is much bigger, deeper than some flat earth banality. Doesn't have to be. Does not have to be, because we're pretty small. Stephen Wright, a comedian who's had a wonderful album in the 80s called I Have a Pony, said it best in that album where he said, it's a small world, but I wouldn't want to paint it. Think about that for a while. Number 12. This is the last one. Oh, and that crap about NASA not going to the moon. Do you really think there would have been 17 to 21 Apollo missions to the moon if they were just making a hoax? Yes, I do. And it wasn't 17 to 21. It was just Apollo 8 through 17, which is 9. And one of those, I think, supposedly didn't even leave Earth orbit, if you believe it. They went to the moon for a reason. There are artifacts there, more on the far side. ET artifacts, relics of other civilizations. The nature of moon is not exactly known, might be hollow or semi-hollow. But for you to think those missions were hoax, that many trips, yeah, I know 13 didn't make it, but it actually left Earth orbit. So technically it went through the Van Allen belt. Peanut Gallery's chiming in here. Those rockets did blast off, and they did have astronauts in the space capsules, and they did not encounter a dome or obstacle like you suggest. What NASA was covering up was the evidence of ETs and artifacts, not a flat Earth. They were followed by UFOs on the way to the moon and watched on moon surface by UFOs and probably retrieved artifacts. Goes on like this. Those special Earth pictures were done in an attempt to remove sunlight so as to make Earth appear more vivid as to color, and the composite photos were made because older satellites took pictures of only so much of the Earth at one time, and they had to be assembled later to show the planet as a totality, and there's always interference in the edges of those photos. You can hear the desperation in his voice. Just he's starting to crack here. To curvature at Earth, he starts going in all caps here. Let's see. Let's cut forward 2 more sentences. God would not fool with such a mundane thing as a flat Earth with a large dome. Okay, so now you're science and God at the same time. Good for you. You blended something with up until now has not been blended. Maybe a dome on the moon over a small city, but it is much easier to colonize a planet like the Earth in a spherical form and tweak it to continue to exist for billions of years as is. And it has had life on it for 4 billion years, and there's geological record of dinosaurs. And the Earth was not made 5,000 years ago, at least not 5,000 years as we know them. And then all caps, and they say the devil is in the details, and you've given the devil his due by not examining the details in more detail. So do a little more research and think a little harder, and don't be a fool and think Einstein and Tesla and Newton and those great men were hoaxing humanity or trying to deceive us. You have a problem, dude. I am writing you this long email, and you can share it with your problem friends. That's exactly what I'm doing. Now, maybe with your flat Earth, you want to have flat people. It is ashamed. You are trying to promulgate such a stupid fantasy. The Earth is so beautiful as a rough sphere, and the sun in the center of our solar system, and the seasons, and the wind, and the absence of barriers and domes in the sky, and the Van Allen belts are changing, so on and so on and so on. Joseph G. Flat. That's not his real name. You are on live with Strange World. Who are you? Where are you from? What are we talking about?
Hey, Marky Mark.
What's up?
Is Jimmy Choo from Jersey.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, man? No, I just want to tell you, like, every day is like I go on like an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
There's like no one to talk to, and it's like you're outside of the matrix, and everyone's just in it. It's like so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I'm afraid to bring up to my friends. I'm afraid to bring it up at work because I don't want to lose my job or anything.
Well, don't come at him. Come at him sideways. Don't bring it up to your friends. Don't unless you have an opening where you can do it without, without too much reprisal. I wouldn't do it.
Oh yeah. So what do you do for work?
I do this at the moment.
Oh, you do this?
I'm doing this full time.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. It's not something I ever thought. It's not something I could put on a resume. But anyway.
I just want to tell you how the equators, how it's warm at the equator.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me on a ball.
Yeah.
But on the flat surface, it makes sense because that's what it's probably rotating at.
Oh yeah. Yeah, on a ball,
Yeah.
The distances are really the thing that screwed up more than anything because on a ball, it's like, okay, 93 million miles away, and you're telling me the tilts, which are so slight, we're talking about, 93 million miles compared to, less than whatever 1,000 miles it is for a tilt. That's such a small variance, and yet that completely changes our seasons to the point where, life isn't possible. Life becomes extreme in some areas. Come on. Not buying it.
Yeah. They have to stop.
Anyway.
Just keep up the good work.
Thanks, man. Awesome.
So, I had emailed you the other day about the book.
Which one did you?
It was about the book. I said I was going to send it to you for you to sign up.
Oh, right. Oh, that was you?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, okay, perfect. I'll look for it. Just make sure. Yeah, as soon as it gets here, you'll shoot me an email, a separate email saying sent you book or whatever it is, and I'll definitely sign it and send it back to you.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
Bye. Okay. I'm not going to pick up this phone call yet because I'm running out of time, and I got to do a quick shout out to someone who wrote me a handwritten letter. It is from Pam and her friend. I think it was Howard. I will pick up calls though in a little bit. And she sent me a box of cookies and some chocolates, and I'm just trying to find the return address. J. Francis. I can't read that last name. This looks French, but I think it's Pam, and she's out of Dallas, Texas. And I know she's out of Dallas because she says, P.S. My team is going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, nice way to rub it in as Seattle's starting to diminish somewhat in their potency. And looks like the Dallas Cowboys, after a long time and a whole bunch of money, are on the verge of actually going to the Super Bowl with their monstrous offensive line. So good for them. And thank you, Pam and Howard, for sending me the cookies. I will also show this letter on Patricia's show tomorrow, and I will show the cookies if I don't eat them first. And let's do this. I'm going to read Candy's email real fast because she called during the beginning of the show. It's from Candy Franklin. She goes, "Hi, Mark. It is currently 2 a.m. With a fast approaching 7:30 scheduled work time creeping around the corner. I falsely assumed that this lack of sleep, well, at least that thereof, due to Flat Earth, was something of the past. In the beginning of, and much of the way into the deep end of my journey to become unglobalized, this sort of thing has become normal and expected due to the constant thirst for more facts that prove the globe to be a lie. Same story as everyone else. I heard Tila Tequila and thought she should decrease her drug intake ASAP. Like so many others, I decided to find out where such outrageous allegations could have been stemmed from. I dove into the rabbit hole that is impossible to ever come out of. Not that it matters who I am, but if you remember, I'm the one who told you I listened to you at work all day long. Also, I called the show one other time because my son was wanting to know about the seasons. Anyway, so here I am in a time where losing sleep over Flat Earth is now a thing of the past. Losing sleep over Flat Earth once again, smiley face. So a few minutes ago, I jumped up cussing. I realized that it's almost 2 a.m. and I missed today's Strange World. This was upsetting to me much more than normal, though. Normally, if I happen to miss the show live, no biggie. I just catch it on the following day on YouTube. Today was super important to me, though. I have spent damn near the entirety of today anticipating my phone call to you tonight. Well, talk about epic fail. Here we are now. So the mysterious subject is defined in the screenshot I attached. I found someone to debate you. David Vose, V-O-S-E, wants to. Not that I have anything against him. I listen to some of his religious videos, but he is pretty hardcore on the globe. I am super excited and hope you indeed contact him and make the debate public or even live. Please let me know your intentions on going forward or not. I'm going to try, but I'm going to try to give it to Jeffrey Grubb first because If I did one and didn't, he would give me a whole bunch of grief. It's like, dude, you've been telling me you're going to give it to me, and then you don't give it to me. Thanks for everything you have done. I love you so much. Oh, and I keep forgetting, can you send me the Survivor thingy-majiggy? Oh, yeah, we'll send it right after the show's over. I will try to catch you tomorrow with Red about this. Not sure how long it takes you to read your emails. Again, thank you for giving us you. We all, especially me, appreciate you and all you do. Have a great day, and God bless you and your soon-to-be wife. Ooh. Well, I have no comment. LOL, and Merry Christmas to the both of you as well. Candy Franklin, here's my number if you need me to help set up the debate. Super. And I've got the screenshot, and I will send you the thing as soon as we're done. Yeah, who knows? Maybe this David Vos guy would be worth... yeah, maybe. We'll see. So, okay, so I've read the debunkers email, and I just want to summarize that real quick, and I know I'm going to kind of do it piecemeal throughout the show, but at the end of that, you can kind of tell. He is really more of a religious guy with some scientific beliefs. So he's a Bible believer that believes in the solar system. Not uncommon. You can find a whole bunch of these guys on YouTube if you want. Some very, very enthusiastic about it, where they have blended in. It's like, oh, science wouldn't lie to us about this, but I do believe that God created the solar system, and that with galaxies and everything. And what I'm trying to say is, God is much more efficient than that. I'm not trying to say that I know the mind of God, but God wouldn't waste a lot of vacuum space in building something like this. If you can fake it, if you can fake the solar system and the galaxy, and 99.999% of the population buys it, and the rest of them are super powerful and try to hide it, I think that's way more interesting and more efficient than trying to create a massive galaxy. 724 area code calling in. Let's pick them up. You are on live with Strange World. Who are you? What do you want?
This is Ron.
Ron?
Yeah, from Pittsburgh.
Hey, Ron, what's going on out in Pittsburgh?
Not a whole lot. I'm just listening to some of these people that I don't know what realm they live in, but I don't know if you saw a video. It was a couple of months ago, and I've been trying to get a hold of you.
Okay.
A woman called in. She was kind of frantic.
Okay.
And she said it was her first video. She was trying to download it and post it. She didn't know what she was doing or whatever. Well, apparently, Encyclopedia Americana, you can look this up, the 1958 edition.
Okay.
In either the volume 2 or second chapter, it clearly states in there that the military found the dome at 13,000 feet. Now, if this was screening or before they really got a hold on a lot of things and information, because it was 1958.
Sure.
I don't know, but the other day, my son-in-law, he punched in on his phone because I said I hadn't been able to find it. And I don't know if he went right to Google or whatever, but next thing you know, he found it and he was reading it. So I don't know if he punched it in YouTube or just went to Google, but he started reading it right off of the phone, and the woman was on her, and then he played the video right off of his phone.
Right on.
So,
all right,
there's
well,
one
perfect.
Smoking. There's one smoking gun, and another one is if you got someone to do this. Is my biggest beef is with these people. Number one, above all the math, the trick math or whatever they got going on, is no one can live upside down on a ball.
Yeah.
These people in Santiago, Chile, and the one spacecraft that everybody knows is this Enterprise.
Yeah.
So make a graphic with the Earth sitting out there and have the Enterprise fly in and fly in and fly in. And in what mysterious world does it actually turn right side up, upside down, just like the planes flying south over the equator? And when it flies in and it looks up at the people standing upside down, either in Antarctica or lower Chile or wherever, upside down is upside down.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It's awesome. And good point that just about every special effect movie, almost all of them, as far as I know, we'll have to do some research on which ones have chosen the method of they're always coming from the top. And no one ever rolls under, and yeah, it's very, very interesting. I like it.
Yeah. And but yeah, because you can even read that or bring that up. And there's a couple other things that, all the movies. So I've been trying. I called you a couple of months ago and left a message because I don't have no email.
Okay.
So, and that's all I do is research because I'm forced retirement. So, and I'm going on my 2-year thing, just like you. I would watch my videos all day, and they just kept kind of a flat Earth this, flat, and I just kind of smiled to myself, thinking whatever, and I just bypassed it. And one day I couldn't find nothing else, and I watched my first one, and then my second one, and I was hooked instantly because into just about everything like that, and I believe in a lot of this stuff, and but with all the movies. But the one thing that was bothering me too was the longitude and the latitude lines.
Yeah.
Now they always claim that the world's tilted and it has a wobble to it and all this stuff. Well, how did anybody ever even pinpoint this stuff?
Yeah.
Especially with, any of the other older technology before this came out to actually say, this is what it is. Because every time they show you that, it's sitting perfectly, north to south.
Yeah.
And all the longitude and latitude lines, are all over, where you can say, okay, this is here, this is there. But if it's tilted, it's spinning. How did anybody ever, come up with that in the first place?
Yeah.
And how accurate could it possibly be?
Yeah.
Especially if it's wobbling, and it's
Yeah.
tilted.
Yeah. Excellent points. Like it.
So
Any
I got
other
doodles of stuff?
Yeah,
Well, I got
no,
doodles of
it's
stuff
cool.
because I, like I said, 18 hours a day I research. That's all I do because I can't do. I have a bad back, so I just research everything. So if there's any kind of a topics, and I probably got a ton of more stuff or whatever. But like I said, between the movies, the videos about Cook. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to say, last week's show, I think it was, that guy was called in. He was trying to bully you on the pencil beam radar. Well, it's really not pencil beam radar.
Yeah.
It's not really a pencil beam radar. It's like the same thing on your pistol with the laser sights.
Yeah.
Because the guy clearly said the pencil beam has to hit the target.
Yeah.
So it's basically a laser beam. It wasn't laser beam technically radar. It's a laser beam pinpointed, on the target, and it can't bend.
Yeah.
So you're way smarter than you give yourself credit for. So some of these people, and I want to scream at the TV or, I have a smart TV. That's how I watch all my stuff on my smart TV. I used to have a Roku, but, and I used to say, let him have it, Mark. Let him have it, because he's like bullying you. And you're like, okay, you're real nice and passive, which I understand. You got to be nice for the shows and what have you. But you're a lot smarter, stand up for yourself.
Well, thank you.
When some of
Thank
these
you.
people
I will do what I can. When somebody starts coming at me personally, I'll probably take it more personally. But again, I can't get too mad at most of the people because I started out as them. But
I mean, he was trying to come at you with this, he had to answer for everything, and I'm listening, and I'm thinking, here we go, because then he said, no, it's radar, and radar can bend, and as soon as he was saying the radar bends or whatever, and I'm thinking, no, because I clearly remember all those shows, I have them logged, I've been following you like crazy, and everybody else, and just like the one time I watched, who's that New Zealand guy with that blonde broad? And they were going up against the thing from Globebusters.
Yeah.
And they based their whole stuff, the whole video was based on, because a guy called in and he used to work at one of the Antarctica stations.
Yeah.
And he posted on his blog or whatever that he was a cook for a while. And he took this flight and that flight and went down there and did this and that. And they were posting the whole video and beating up on Globebusters based on hearsay, basically, just because this guy said I worked there and these are the flights I took, and this is what all went on. Well, they totally, we're just basing it on because this guy said, I took this flight or that flight. It's been so long now
I know.
for the details, but it didn't make no sense, and they were just going. I says, how do you even, there's no logic even behind it.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
they say
And
the same thing.
overall, I'm not too worried because the retention rate of this whole community is almost perfect, and that's we convert more and more every single day. I mean, I cannot get to all my emails. I can't get to the phone calls, all of them. And by the way, I'm sorry if I hadn't called you back. Email was probably better. And when you email me, tell me, remind me in the header that you talked to me during the show. And
that's the thing. I don't have no email. I mean,
right, you don't
my
have an
daughter
email.
tried fixing it.
I
have it by. I have a little tablet thing, but it's always dead. And that's what I said. It used to go on my DVD player. I had the app, and that's when I first stumbled on YouTube when I first got hurt. I didn't know what it was. I worked morning to dark. I had landscaping business and all this stuff.
Sure.
But I was always an intuitive or believed, aliens, like you said, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was wanted to run by you was the checkerboard thing for the Illuminati, how it's the checkerboard is a big deal with them.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if there was a secret message with that because of the eggshell or the egg carton theory. Because I've seen the other videos and them thinking like every little pockets. And I just seen a video the other day with the pond, that the Earth is its own little pond. And then they showed the other ones because of that that map from 1000 they got in that Chinese or Japanese temple.
The Japanese map. Yeah.
Yeah, showing all the other land masses that were out there, because a lot of these people that even disappear now, whether, they say Elvis and these other people that are alive, some of these other people that are just plain disappeared, and why all the big shots are going to Antarctica. And then I watched Math do the thing with his buddy about the sea bass.
Yep.
All this stuff going on in Syria that they can't agree on, but yet they decided to vote instantly on the 400 square miles of water to protect sea bass.
Exactly.
Was so hard when I saw that.
Yeah.
And it's the truth, the goofy stuff. But these people basically lose all faith in the sheeple. It's like everyone's being led by the nose, and I don't know what, like I said, I hate to say planet, but we're so used to it. What planet these people live on that they can't believe nothing. And that guy, there's a couple of emails you were just reading, that kid was flipping out. I was laughing. I said, you got to be kidding me, just the way you were even reading it.
I mean, I can pick up the energy levels off what people are saying, and I get it. I mean, he started out, tried to stay science. By the end, it was like, okay, you're a strong Christian that believes in the solar system. I get it. But
and I was the same thing, raised super Catholic or whatever, but it was like, are you kidding me? Every question I ever ask, you just get slapped, don't you dare ask that question. And if Jordan Maxwell, same thing, he's the godfather of all knowledge. I mean, everybody looked to him because he's, almost 60 years into all this crazy research and, and tells everything that's going on. And he said, at his confirmation, they brought the bishop in or whatever to do, and I said, don't ask no questions. So he said, hey, if you hadn't seen this or heard this story, and he says, well, can you burn a spirit? And the bishop says, what? He says, like, my dad has torches. He said, could you burn a spirit? And he says, no. Once you're a spirit, you're basically invisible. He says, well, then why should I worry about going to hell and being burnt alive? Because you can't burn a spirit. And his priest came over and slapped him and threw him back down in his chair. And he says, and that was coming from a 12-year-old kid, or whatever.
Nice.
It was like nothing ever made sense.
Awesome. Hey, I hate to do this to you, but I got to wrap up the show. Any shout-outs you want to do real quick?
No, not right offhand.
Do me a favor, because I'm going to
get through.
I'm going to be traveling soon back up to Victoria, Canada. Call me in a couple days and leave a message. Good. Remind me who you are. I'll remember the voice. And
which number? Because I got the 303 number.
Use either one. Both of them go to the same answering machine.
Okay, very good.
All right.
All right, buddy.
Thank you, by the way, for calling in and staying persistent.
Keep it going.
All right, I will.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, before we wrap up the show, real quick, anyone that's looking for a flat Earth physical model, not a computer model, Chris Pontius, Pontius, his email is at flatinit@gmail.com. So flatinit@gmail.com. He was emailing me saying he's got lots of inquiries, and look, if anyone wants a physical model, he's the only guy I know that's actually making full-blown physical models. He's making them bigger and better with all sorts of new motors and lights, and he's really excited about it. So flatinit@gmail.com. They're not cheap, mind you, so keep that in mind because they're handmade. We are wrapping up the show. Thanks for everyone that called in. We had tons of calls. I only got through like 2 or 3 emails. Thank you for all the inquiries with emails. 10 Commandments, I don't have them memorized, but what I try to tell people is treat others better than you treat yourself. If you do, the world will be a better place. What else? Doing a show tomorrow with Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes with Patricia Steer. It's the last show of the year. And then next week, we're going to start up 2017. I've got big hopes. I don't know. We'll see about big predictions, but I have a funny feeling. I got a weird feeling about 2017. Starting off with the president. If that's any indicator, it's going to be a weird, strange, and very, very flat year, guys. So with that, also thank you to the Peanut Gallery for chiming in, and we'll see you next time.